Hello friends, Chris here, CaribbeanPod.com. Have you guys checked out the site lately? Tons of good stuff on there. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen. Today we're going to make some curry potatoes with some leftover stewed chicken. I made stewed chicken last night for dinner, so I thought I'd do this up today for lunch. So when I posted this question on Facebook, if you guys are interested in the video, a lot of you said yes, so here we go. And this is it here. It's been going now for about, I don't know, 5-7 minutes. Still got another 12 minutes or so to go before we can really enhance it with the leftover stewed chicken. Now this recipe also works great with stewed pork, stewed beef, even KFC. I've seen my mom put extra pieces of KFC that we've had in the pot there as well. This is a recipe I grew up on, roti, rice. Good to go with anything. If it's your first time here on the YouTube channel, above you're going to see that subscribe thing. Click on it. All of the new videos will be sent directly to you. Below in the comment section, that's where you're going to leave me all your questions, anything you want to chat about in regards to food in the Caribbean and stuff like that. And one more thing, if you can give the video the thumbs up or like it, that'd be greatly appreciated. Let's get cracking on this curry potato with leftover stewed chicken. Let's see how quick we can go through the ingredients here for making the curry potato with leftover stewed meat. In this case, I'm using leftover stewed chicken. I've got 6 pieces here. With any leftover gravy and stuff like that, it's all on the bottom here. If you're on YouTube and you're looking for that video on how to make that stewed chicken, search Caribbean stewed chicken or check out the Caribbean Pod channel. You can also check out CaribbeanPod.com for that recipe. We'll need some fresh ground black pepper, about 1/4 teaspoon, a couple tablespoons of vegetable oil. Over here we've got 5 medium potatoes that I peeled, washed, diced up. You can see the diced, well, cut up basically. I use Yukon Gold potatoes. I love the creaminess of it. We buy 2 potatoes in this house, Yukon Gold and bacon potato, which is really a russet potato. Both of them will work. New potatoes, they tend to work, but they don't melt down and form that creamy sort of texture that I like. But again, it's totally up to you. 5 of them here, 5 medium potatoes. And the little sunshine baskets here. Here I've got a teaspoon of salt. Over here, 1 onion medium that I diced up. 3 cloves of garlic. About 1/4 of a hot pepper. This is a Scotch bonnet pepper, no seeds. And over here, a heaping tablespoon of curry powder. Now, the last time I mentioned anything about curry powder, and the one I like, there was a lot of flack on YouTube, a lot of comments, people saying I disrespected them and stuff like that. Here's the thing. I love my Caribbean curry, and I use a Caribbean style curry powder. This is Ras Chief, I think it's called, from Trinidad and Tobago. You guys feel free to use whatever you like. I grew up on this stuff. This is what I know. This is what I like. But again, it's a preference thing. I like to support my own, basically. So we're also going to need a couple cups of water, because this is going to be like a sauce once everything melts down and everything. So stay tuned. We're going to get to the cooking process in 2 and 2. I've got a fairly big deep pan on high heat right now. The pan is nice and hot. I can feel it coming through. So what I'm going to do is add a couple tablespoons of vegetable oil to the pan. And that should, because the pan is hot, it should be exactly at a temperature where I like it to be at. So what I'm going to do now is add the onions as well as the garlic. Give that a good stir and allow that to soften up for a couple minutes. Now, I started off with the heat high. I'm going to turn that down to like a medium, because I really don't want this burning at this point yet. Garlic tends to burn really fast, so I'm going to turn it down to like a low-medium heat. It's been a couple minutes. The onion-garlic combo here, it's nice, and the edges are starting to go a little bit toasted. So what I'm going to do now is turn up back my heat to like about a medium-high and add in the curry powder to the pot. Now, some people may do this a bit differently, where they would make a sort of a slurry with the curry powder and water and then add it to the pot here. But I'm doing things a little bit different because I want to toast the curry powder a little bit before I actually get to cooking the rest of the stuff into it. So I'm going to give that a good stir. Let that cook. The kitchen is going to start smelling wonderful with that rich curry scent throughout the kitchen here. It's going to get nice and toasty, maybe about a minute and a half. And then we're going to add just about 4 tablespoons, maybe about 5 tablespoons of water to the pot here. You are going to notice it's going to steam up. There we go. That's exactly what we're looking for. I'm now going to add the pepper to this. Give that a good stir. I'm going to turn my heat down. Actually, I'm going to need a couple more tablespoons of water. So you want to sort of cook this curry a little bit because you don't want that raw curry taste in the food. So I've added the Scotch bonnet pepper, the piece of pepper to there. It's on a very low heat now. And I'm going to crank in that fresh ground black pepper into here as well because we really want to build that rich flavor base for this dish. I'm just going to cook this for a couple minutes until all that water burns off. I've cooked the curry now for about 3 minutes or so on a very low heat. Then I turn up the heat a little bit to burn off any sort of extra liquid that was in the pot. As you can see, I have a sort of a thick paste on the bottom of the pan now. So all we're going to do here, and now if you want to personalize this dish, there are a few things you can add to personalize it. You can add some roasted jeera powder to this. You can add some anchar masala to this. Very tiny amounts because you don't want to overpower the dish. And in the end, if you want to really brighten this up, what you can do is add some chopped tomato to the pot as well. But that's later on. Now what I'm going to do is add all that diced potato in here and give that a wicked stir. You really want to pick up all those curry bits from the bottom of the pan. You want to coat the pieces of potato with all that lovely rich flavor. So now it's nice and coated, and we're going to add some water to this because that's how we're going to cook this. So I've got 2 cups of water that I'm going to add to the pot. Basically what you want to do is cover the potato and bring it up to a boil with the water. So you're going to bring that up here. It's nice and covered. So you see all the pieces of potato are covered. Just going to scrape the bottom of the pan a bit to pick up any of that rich flavor base that we built. And we're going to put that salt in there. Give it a stir. Turn up the heat. Put the lid on and bring that up to a boil. When it comes up to a boil, you're going to turn that heat down to a gentle simmer and allow it to cook for about 20 minutes. Again, it depends on the potato you use. It may take a bit longer, but 20 minutes is a good guide to go with at this point. We want that potato nice and tender and falling apart, melting away in the pot. It's now been about 20 minutes since we put this to boil, and it's been going on a sort of a simmer, rolling, gentle boil kind of thing. And there's still quite a bit of liquid here. So what we're going to do, we're going to do a couple of things. The potatoes should be fully cooked. And how you would know that is as you stir it, you'll notice you're getting smaller and smaller pieces. That means the potato is fully cooked. You can also break through it and you'll notice that it's going to be nice and tender. Now using the back of your spoon, the back of the spoon here, what I'm going to do is press down on some of it because we want to thicken up this sauce a bit. I'm just going to break down some. But you really want to leave some of the big pieces of potato as well. You want to have that contrast, you want to have that texture. So the next step is to add those pieces of leftover stewed chicken. I'm going to add the gravy and everything in there. Give that a wicked stir. You notice it's going to change color because I'm going to say the stew meat is going to add a lovely sort of rich golden color to this. It won't be as green as when we first started off. And the final step is to crank up that heat and thicken up this sauce quite a bit. All we're doing is heating through the chicken pieces and for the chicken pieces to release some of that stew goodness into the pot. Maybe about 4 or 5 minutes on a high heat. It will thicken up nice and you're good to go. I'll show you that in a second actually. I think it's all done now, guys. It should be nice and thick in there. Just going to give that a quick stir. Yep, it's, you know, it's thick, but you may still think it's a bit runny. But here's the thing about this. Once it cools down, for some reason, the starch in the potato and everything, I'm just going to turn the heat off. It thickens up quite a bit. Trust me, from experience, I know this. I've made some, my daughters came to eat, and they were like, Dad, why is this so thick? There's no sauce to this. But there it is, the curry potatoes with leftover stewed chicken. If you want to brighten this up for presentation purposes, I mean, so you can chop up some scallions and top it up, make it nice and green and lovely on top of there. You can taste it for salt as well too. We started off with a teaspoon of salt, but as we've discussed in the past, your tolerance for salt will be different than mine. Taste it for salt. If it needs more salt, add a little bit more, obviously. If it's too salty, what you're going to do, you're going to chop up half of a tomato, a ripe tomato, put it in there, and let it simmer for a couple of minutes. The tomato should absorb any extra salt that's in there. That's just one of the tips I thought I'd leave with you guys. Chris here, CaribbeanPod.com. Thanks again for joining me in the kitchen. Remember to leave me your comments below, like the video, and of course, subscribe. Have a great day, guys.